Educational Information and Communication Technology presents Educational Satellite Television Programs.
Hello, teacher. Hello, students. Welcome to today's lesson on patterns of behavior. In our last lesson, we studied insight learning. We learned that there are three factors that influence the insight learning experience. We discussed that when possible problem-solving attempts have been tried and have been unsuccessful, the ongoing attempts to solve the problem eventually end, and a perfect solution to the problem is suddenly realized in a spontaneous way. We also looked at the contributions by Wolfgang Kohler to the understanding of insight experiences. In addition, we learned about the terms epiphany and eureka. In today's lesson, we are going to discuss patterns of behavior in animals and focus on courtship. Let us begin the lesson. There are many different species of animals, and each species behaves somewhat differently. However, there are common patterns of behavior exhibited by many species and a few behavior patterns that are exhibited by all species. Since all species need to reproduce, eat, and defend themselves from predators, most species show some kind of courtship and reproductive behavior, foraging behavior, and defensive behavior. When we observe animals that are engaged in behavior, we can begin to see patterns form. We can observe how they act in certain situations. Sometimes these actions could be simple and straightforward. Other times, they involve complex processes. In this lesson, we will be looking at courtship behavior. Courtship in animals is behavior that results in mating and eventual reproduction of species. It may be simple, involving a small number of chemical, visual, or auditory stimuli, or it may be a highly complex series of acts by two or more individuals, using several modes of communication. Courtship enables members of a species to recognize each other and reduces the attempts at interbreeding between different species. Animals communicate with one another to initiate courtship and their mating intentions. Students, since animals cannot communicate with one another like people can, what are some ways you think they might communicate? Share your ideas with your classmates.
Students, let's get ready. Begin. Time's up. Let's get back to our lesson.
Hello again, students. I hope you were able to think of some ways animals communicate and share with each other. There are, in fact, many different methods of communication that are used to attract a mate. Pheromones are often used to attract mates from a distance. Touch is also a way to communicate. Also, song is used by different species to attract a mate as well. Pheromones are chemicals secreted by one animal, typically the female. They are used to provoke a behavioral response in another animal. There are many different types of pheromones. Alarm pheromones are secreted by animals when they are being attacked. They produce the response of flight or aggression by others of that same species. Releaser pheromones can attract a mate from a distance of 2 miles or more. Territorial pheromones are used to mark the boundaries of a species' territory. Sex pheromones are produced in the female to signal that she is ready and available for mating. Courtship behavior is innate in most animals and consists of a predetermined fixed action pattern in response to a key stimulus. Fixed action patterns are a set of instinctive behaviors in an organism that run in sequence and are in response to a stimulus. From what we have learned in our previous lessons, students, can you explain what innate behavior means?
Students, let's get ready. Begin. Time's up. Let's get back to our lesson.
Welcome back, students. If you said that innate behaviors are behaviors that a species is born with and does not have to learn, then you answered correctly. Let us continue on with the lesson. Although the courtship behavior is innate, there are often complex behaviors with a fixed or constant pattern of action in one animal serving as a stimulus for the fixed action pattern in the other animal. The interaction of the two individuals' fixed action patterns continues until courtship is successful or until one of the individuals tires. In this video of bowerbirds, we can see an example of courtship behavior. The male bowerbird is making itself known to the female bowerbird by making gestures, moving in a certain way, and making noises. These behaviors are called display behaviors and are considered to be the fixed action pattern of the male bowerbird. The female bowerbird is also exhibiting her fixed action patterns by watching the male bird and ruffling her feathers. As we saw, animals display themselves and act in a way to show their willingness to mate, attract a partner, and, in some instances, warn off a rival. Let us watch another video clip of birds courting to see how these behaviors and fixed action patterns can differ from species to species. As we can see, different species of birds engage in various behaviors and patterns of fixed actions to attract a mate. Some of their actions or tactics may be similar, such as they may hop around or sing a song to their potential mate, but each one is slightly unique and based on the innate behaviors of that species. For our last activity, students, explain the term fixed action pattern.
Students, let's get ready. Begin. Time's up! Let's get back to our lesson.
Welcome back, students. If you said that fixed patterns are a set of instinctive behaviors in an organism that run in sequence and are in response to stimulus, then you answered correctly. Great work, students. You must really be paying attention today. We have reached the end of our lesson for today, students. We have learned about patterns of behavior in animals, and we have also learned about courtship behaviors. We found out that animals can communicate with each other through pheromones, touch, or through song. We also saw some examples of the courtship behaviors in different species of birds. Until next time, thank you, teacher. Thank you, students.